Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Happy holidays to you. Man, do we have a great episode of Music on the Run. One of the most influential bands of our time out of Oakland, California. We got Roger Smith, Jerry Cortez, and Tommy Pulitzer, Tower of Power members. They're next on Music on the Run.
Before we get started here, do me a favor. Wherever you got this podcast, make sure you subscribe, give us a rating, and if you have time and like what you're hearing, make sure you write a review. It really helps us get the word out so we can have a lot more people coming to the party. Hey everybody, I'm St. Paul Peterson. Prince gave me that nickname, and I've been lucky enough to tour with people like the Steve Miller Band, Kenny Loggins, Peter Frampton, Donny Osmond, to name a few. And when I'm not playing music, I love to run. And this is a podcast about how we stay healthy on the road, physically, mentally, and with our families. Welcome to Music on the Run. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 27 of Music on the Run. Yep, we're still in the basement, the Peterson basement. It's super funky down now here now. I'm trying to decorate a little bit for the holidays. If you're listening to this another time, it is November. We are allowed to start decorating, so the Christmas lights up, and we're just starting to vibe it out a little bit here. But this week, man, wait till you hear who I've got on. I'm so excited. My buddies have come to hang out with us for an hour. They are unbelievable. They are members of the most iconic band in the land. One of the most iconic anyways, right, fellas? And they're on the road more than any other band I can think of, really. These three guys recently performed on our most successful Funk Friday. Ooh. And 40,000 people saw that one, fellas. Wow, and between the three of them, they played with everyone from Jeff Beck, Cold Blood, right, and Joe Cocker, to name a few. Please welcome my buddies, Tommy Pulitzer, Roger Smith, and Jerry Cortez from the band Tower of Power. Fellas!
Hey!
Paul. How are you?
Great.
Copacetic.
Thanks, you guys, for doing the show. Where are you guys at? Roger, let's start with you. Where are you?
I'm in Sacramento. In Sacramento.
All right. Tommy,
it was a balmy 78 today.
Oh, man.
Sun's out. Gorgeous.
I don't want to hear this. You realize that, right?
Yeah, stop it.
Tommy, where are you?
Presently, I'm in Seattle, where it's 48 degrees and
all right.
Leaky faucet.
We're over here, actually.
And a leaky faucet.
Yeah, right. Jerry, where are you?
I'm in Saratoga Springs, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City.
Oh, all right. Okay. I see you've got the long sleeves on as well.
Yep.
Everybody happy and healthy during this unbelievably weird time in our careers, our lives?
Yeah.
Well, at least physically, yes. Mentally, can't speak for everybody else, but
yeah,
mostly good on all fronts for me.
Yep.
Good. I'm so glad.
Likewise for me. I can't complain.
What are you guys doing during this downtime? You guys are working this band in show business, and I can't even imagine what this must be like for you to be at home. What are you doing to fill your time? You making music? Roger, I want to start with you.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks to this guy named Paul Peterson. Been doing some Funk Friday stuff, which has been a blast. Working on a couple of different projects, my smooth jazz thing and a Roscoe 3 that I'm trying to put together.
Oh, beautiful.
So it kind of keeps me busy and also dealing with Bump City Wine Company.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to hear more about that. I've got a whole little section saved to hear about that. What about you, Tommy?
I've just been doing a few sessions here and there. I did, your Funk Friday, and I'm practicing some and working on my golf game a lot.
Ooh.
Because I can. And I know when this thing is over, there goes my golf game. But right now, it's gotten really good.
You've been playing a little bit, have you?
Playing a little bit, and
scoring?
I've been scoring. My handicap's down to 3.2 again.
Great
So that's
golfer.
nice.
He can't play. Boy can play.
And I'll play golf. I'll be back in California in December, and I'll be able to play golf, but not much here. But the good thing up here is that all the driving ranges are covered with heaters above them. So I can go out. So I just go out and beat between 100 and 200 golf balls almost every day. And when it's not raining, I can work on my short game. And I do that for 2-3 hours a day. And also I've lost 25 pounds. So that's good.
Really?
Tommy? God, right
I'm down to
right.
I'm down under 220 now. So
Sexy menu.
I'm working on I'm headed towards 200, which would be really nice.
Nice.
You
Come
sexy
on.
beast, you sexy beast.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people are gaining weight so far. I've lost weight, so that's good.
Man, that's good. Wow.
Good for you, Tom.
I might start running a little bit like you're doing, because I think my knees can take it now.
Come on, anytime.
Yeah.
Well, first, when you come back into town, my buddy Scott wants to take us golfing at Edina again, and you're coming running with me.
Hey, at 242 pounds, when I tried to jog, my knee said, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, Now I've run a little bit at now I'm at like 218. And they go like, yeah, we can handle it 218. Once you lose another 10 pounds for sure, and then we'll be fine. That's where they're at. So
I hear you.
Yeah, I don't want those knees to go.
Nope.
Yeah.
No bionic knees, please.
No.
So, Jerry, tell me what you've been up to during this little interim, as we will call it.
Well, doing some session work here in my studio. Had fun on your Funk Friday as well.
Thank you so much for doing that.
You know, I really loved your. That was really a lot of fun. I really loved the next one, the follow-up one you did with Will Lee and you playing keyboard. There's a couple guitar players. I was like, oh, this is snapping. What song was that again? Do you remember what song that was?
No, I can't remember.
One of those 2-minute specials.
Yeah.
I thought you just made something up.
Probably.
It was cool.
I've done 39 of these things, so I have no idea what my name is anymore.
So it was the follow-up bars, whatever that was. But yeah, I've been like session guy for hire. I just played on one of Ray Green's songs. That's gonna be on his next CD, a song called "Jealous." That was awesome. Fun.
That's great.
And just for other folks that been this bass player from I don't even remember his name, but I played on several of his tracks. He's a bassist that's on our record label. Yeah, kind of fusion-y kind of stuff. It was fun, challenging too. And I finished this summer. I finished a Christmas CD. So all through the warm months, I was in here Christmas caroling away, and that was a lot of fun. So hopefully that's going to be out next month at some point.
Yeah. And I'm doing the same thing. I uncovered a Christmas record that I started 5 years ago, and it's super dark. And I'm like, I don't think I want to put this out 5 years ago. And I went, it's perfect for 2020. It's with all the old, like Away in a Manger with way far out dirgy bebop changes, and just me and a piano player.
Wow.
It's not right. I can't. I'll send it to you guys after this thing.
Love to hear it. And just and spending time with my family. My wife and our little Ping, and we're having lots of fun spending time.
So glad.
Well, homeschooling Ping. I'm not. Kathy is. She's ace.
We've been really keeping up with the episodes of Ping.
Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun living in it. I guess I must say, it's pretty fun.
She's an advanced soul.
Yeah, no kidding, man. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Especially is she still climbing the wall, Jerry? She's still doing wall climbing?
Yeah, she's still doing that. Yeah, she's rock climbing and mountain biking. She just has this really high-tech bike that pedals with her hands.
That's awesome.
Man, that's great. So thank God everybody is healthy, and I continue to help you guys. Well, let's talk a little bit about Tower of Power. Still going strong. First of all, who's been in the longest of the three of you?
Roger.
When did you come in?
Hired in 98, started in 99.
Okay. And then who's next in line? Is that Tommy's next? Okay.
Yeah, I joined in 2002.
Got it.
Yeah. 2010, January of 2010 for me.
Got it. Well, I got to say, I mean, that's the longevity of the band members. It is kind of astounding, really. I mean, of course, there's been some different lead singers, and of course, the passing of Rocco and his health challenges in the last 10 years. That band has been a core band for quite a long time. And nobody has gigs for that length of time. I just interviewed Brian Way in the Paul McCartney band. He's had 2 gigs in his life.
Wow.
20 years with McCartney, 15 years with Etta James. It kind of sounds like you guys. I mean, you aren't going anywhere. You guys have been in this thing for a long time with Tower. I mean, how does that work? I mean, a lot of times, especially if you're on the road as long as you are and you're together as much as you are, some people want to kill each other. How do you keep it all together?
I'll speak on that. I think I can almost speak for Jerry and Tom as well. We've all learned how to find those 2 inches of space for ourselves and how to give 2 inches to the other bandmates. Especially on a bus, we have one bus. Sometimes we're lucky enough we might have 2. But for the most part, we're on one with 14 people.
Oh.
And these are grown men. And sometimes we'll have some overnighters, especially Europe touring. States, we kind of deal with it. But, like everybody in the band, first of all and foremost, everybody's a grown man and they're conscious of everybody else's space. And we try to, to carve it out for us, for, each member of the band.
Right. Huh.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
I was just going to say family time is all good because we do spend time, we have meetings sometimes on the bus, and then there's like the front lounge is usually like Mimi, Doc, Roger, Tom, and myself, and mostly the band members, and then the back lounge is the riffraff, as we call it. And then we all, we mix and match, we go to the bus in front of the bus. But like I said, family time, there's definitely time, especially right after the gig. We're usually like pumped and everybody's like, hey, high fiving and having a good time with each other. And then eventually earbuds come in really handy, when
they do.
Wow.
Your bunk, or when something's on TV you might not want to watch, you can just listen to
noise cancellation works well.
Noise cancellation, exactly. Yeah. So
another thing too, just a quick funny thing, sometimes when we're all reading stuff, if you're in the front lounge, you have to make sure you have plenty of arm space so you can stretch out and see what's
so you're not like
yeah. So if you were to look down the aisle, you see all these arms outstretched.
I never thought I'd miss the bus, but I got to say I do.
So talk to me, guys, a little bit about when you're off the bus and you're not 14 grown men on a bus. I'm sure you kind of go your separate ways, but there must be little pods of cats that hang out and go, hey, let's go get some coffee. Is that kind of how that works in your world?
There's the 3 amigos of Roger, Dave, and Mark lately.
Right. Yeah.
Those guys are always going to dinner together.
Okay.
And these guys will tell you, I'm kind of a loner on my day off.
I hear you.
I kind of stick to myself. I'm going to do my own thing. And Jerry kind of does his own thing. Adolfo does his own thing.
Sure.
Pretty much, God, most everybody does their own thing. Except I will see Dave, Raj, and Mark having dinner frequently.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm not, and I'm invited too. Yeah. It's not like I can't hang out with them. It's just
yeah. Sometimes I'll go with them, And we so a lot of times we run into each other in like
the same restaurant.
Like, hey, where you going? I'm going to dinner. Join me, So that happens a lot. Or we'll walk into a place and there's half the band's already sitting at 2 tables or whatever,
Yeah.
So
right.
But here's one thing, like my friend Jerry, I've learned a new word, provisions.
Yeah.
I've learned how to sustain myself on the road via Jerry, because he'll find a Whole Foods or some sort of a store somewhere, and he'll come back with this bag full of goodies.
I want to talk about this because this is, fellas, if you haven't heard this podcast before, it's called Music on the Run, and it is trying to tell people how bands and artists survive when they're away from home, how they stay in shape, how do they eat, all this. So this is fascinating. I got to hear this Whole Foods story.
I'm the same way. I go to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Bars. Jerry's a full-time vegan.
Yes.
And I've kind of gone mostly plant-based. I will occasionally I like fish too, so I'll definitely eat fish, a couple times a week. But it's hard to be plant-based if you can't go to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is for you in Europe, Jerry, if it's harder there. But
it's
Jerry's
actually easier, especially in restaurants.
It's easier because they'll make you one, right? Make you
the chefs are like artists. You just walk in and I'll say, I'm vegan, and they'll go, hot or a cold meal. And I said, I'll have a warm meal tonight, and they'll just whip up something, man. And
No
I've had some
kidding.
of the most amazing meals. And
That's
you can
cool.
even kind of subpar places. You go, I can't believe I'm eating this amazing meal in this place. I just thought I was going to get just the worst food, but amazing.
And it's true too, because Jerry would tell me about some of these. He said the chef just whipped this up. Taste this, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Not that I eat on a
pretty
plate
cool.
all the time, but
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
yeah, you do. You know.
Yeah,
You
sometimes-
get your hand.
but yeah, like me, I'm everything but no Mickey D's, nothing like that. But I'm definitely carnivorous, and always trying to, like monitor, and at least maintain a consistency for myself. I don't like to feel bad. I don't like to feel like I overdid anything. So that's a lot of, for me, that's what keeps me level. Just
That's a word that I can't pronounce. I think it starts with an M, and it's something like moderation.
Moderation, yeah.
I think that's the word. It's not my vocabulary. I can get you a guy in trouble if he doesn't know that word. All right, so let me go over to Jerry. Describe a typical day on the road with Tower of Power to me and our listeners.
Well, since we're on food, breakfast, exercise, I try and get 30 minutes of exercise in. I'll even forego sleep just so I can get at least 30 minutes of exercise, just because I feel better. And so I'll have some kind of breakfast that for my provisions bag. And I'll hop on the bus or get in a van to go to the airport or whatever. And then the next thing I know, we're checking into a hotel, and then at that point it's iron a shirt. I call it my chores. I'll run into Raj. I say, "Hey, Raj, I finished all my chores." Shine my shoes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we'll compare how many shirts we got ironed. We come out.
Yeah, that too.
Oh yeah, that's the
Especially
chores.
Europe, when we just get it done. There's been times I have to iron like 17 shirts, like marathon.
I like to iron them for that day. I
hang it up.
Iron ahead of time.
Yeah.
Then just kind of crumple it up and put it in your suitcase when you're done, and then
It's gonna get wrinkled when it goes in the suitcase.
And then after all that, I try and grab some lunch somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's going to be like an early sound check, I'll just wait and get food at the gig. And then it's sound check time. And then sometimes we'll have a little bit of hang time. Sometimes we have really long hangs. And then we start singing the long and epic hang.
Is that right?
Because sometimes they could go on for 8 hours, and it's just usually some kind of logistic thing. Like we can't get back to the hotel in time.
Right.
After this gig, we have to leave for the next destination. That kind of stuff. And then it's showtime, and then it's back on Das Boost, and then or back to our hotel.
It starts all over again.
Yeah,
it starts all over again. Yeah.
Does that differ at all for you, Tommy? Your typical day?
I don't know. Some guys sleep better than others. I don't always sleep great when we do overnighters on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always struggling with the coolest thing about COVID right now is I am like getting regular sleep like I haven't had in decades. Decades. I mean, I go to bed. I'm asleep at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I'm up before the sun rises. Yeah. I'm up at 6. I'm up between 6 and 7 a.m. Up here, sun's waking up at 7:15.
I know. I was getting text messages from you guys at 8 a.m. I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Rock star.
So, I'm going to have to readjust. So like if I don't sleep on the bus, then so like we'll do the gig, we'll get on the bus. This happens a lot. We'll drive someplace, we'll get to between like, we're lucky 1 a.m. or 1:30, and then if we're not, it's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then what do? And then often we'll have to check out of that hotel at 3 p.m.
Right.
So try to go back to sleep. Like Jerry says, get some exercise. I'm not as diligent as he is with that. And if I'm tired, I'll just get to do the walking thing.
Okay.
Or sometimes I'll walk after sound check and try to get some movement going on. I'm thinking of now like a scenario where we have 4 gigs in a row on the bus every night.
Right.
And that just is trying to, but it's funny. No matter how tired I am coming up to gig time, once I played like 1 or 2 tunes, I'm awake. And then as soon as I'm done playing, I'm wide awake.
Yeah.
Like wide awake. It's like takes me like a couple hours to like come down off the gig. And I'm sure you're used to that too, Paul, getting off a gig, and Tower Power is such, it's like this the whole time, it's, you got to really wind yourself up.
Well, I think that's something that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then I look forward to my day off to where I actually get to sleep in bed, and I will get 8 hours of sleep. And thank goodness for those. Yeah.
A lot of the band members, when we have a day off somewhere, especially if it's a city that has a lot of things to see or a lot of places to go, or you have friends there, it's difficult because you want to go, I'm tired. You wind up, you just hang in the room. What'd you do today? Nothing.
Right.
Until dinner time, then, like Tommy said, we're back on the bus, like those 3 to 4 nights in a row like that. It can really, like you said too, when we hit the stage, so Paul, it's a whole nother thing. Everybody in that band, it's like, let's go. And we hit it. We pull it together. It's an amazing feat.
We've been up there running on fumes.
Yes, we have,
and we know how to muster up the energy to do it. And the music really does help too, man. It's just so popping and so positive and high energy. It's hard to like go, God, this is a drag. This isn't fun.
Although we've had those gigs before now too.
Yes, we have. We all have. But
and we're old enough now where we appreciate the gigs that we have, especially like you're saying, a gig like Tower. That's positive. You're working. You're hanging. You must consider everybody your road family. I'm sure, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But talk to me a little bit, because we're not spring chickens anymore. Talk to me a little bit about the stamina it takes to be on the road. How many nights a year in a non-COVID year?
200.
150 up to 2?
Yeah.
A heavy year, a regular year is what, about 125?
Yeah.
And how many shows a night? Can you do 2 shows a night?
I'm sorry?
We've done 140.
You guys do 2 shows a night?
Not all.
You don't?
Not very often.
If we're at the Dakota, right, the upside is we're at the same hotel for 4 nights.
4 nights.
Sleeping hours.
The downside is
2 shows a night. That's the downside.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is what's that? 10? 4? Is that it? That's 8 in Hawaii.
Oh wow!
4.
Yeah, 8 shows in Hawaii. And
weren't they doing? We didn't in Hawaii. We got that changed to one of the nights. We only did one show.
Right.
And same with Jazz Alley.
Yeah, in Japan, did we get that changed as well?
I don't think so.
No. 2 every night.
2 every night. That
one's brutal.
So how do you deal with? I mean, even if it's 1 show a night, we're their age we are. We're in pretty good shape. You guys are in good shape. Does it take a lot out of you to do these shows night after night? And if it's stressful for you, how do you deal with that stress? I mean, is it just you plow ahead, or talk to me about that?
I just plow ahead, tired or not.
I take it out on the axe. I take it out on the organ, and not, no, seriously, in a good way. Try to think, okay, I played this last set. How can I get around it this way? let me see what Jerry's playing on this one. How's he gonna, like, what are we gonna do? Like, we always communicate. We'll look at each other and smile because we know when this one section's coming up. It could be a twist or a turn, and so we make, it's like it's a soap opera every night. Like, what's gonna happen when we get to this? You know what I mean? Yeah. And we just make the best out of it. Am I making sense here? I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For me, once I start playing a note, it stops being hard. Like if we have a long break, if we're at the blue note and it's the third night and we just played the first set and we've got this longish kind of hour and 40-minute thing, 45, and then they feed us this incredibly great food. And then you have to be careful not to eat too much because it's so damn good. And then you get up on stage, and sometimes, but once the music starts, it like kind of all goes away, and I'm fine. But I can be like,
the crowds, Paul, are incredible.
Yeah,
they sure love you. I know they love you all over the world. However, Minneapolis really loves you guys.
We feel the love.
We'd love to come back one of these days.
Well,
I love playing the Dakota. I just wish they had a dressing room.
That's right. Coming to visit you guys at the Dakota is always I don't even know what to call that. I don't even bother coming backstage. If I do, it's like, hi.
Subway.
What backstage?
What backstage? Yeah.
There's a utility. Do you know the utility room? You go through the kitchen in the back where the offices are, and then there's a utility room.
Yes.
I set up in the back of that utility room. I find some place to set up my horn, and I go back there and warm up and play. And I'm back in that room with the kegs and the junk and all the stuff. That's that's where I go.
Oh my God.
Kitchen. All right, so we spend a lot of time in kitchens, as you know. And going through kitchens to get to our gig. So it's
part of the deal, isn't it?
Territory at all.
So let's play a little game here. What's the best thing about being on the road with Tower of Power? Jerry.
Best thing. Wow. Can we go back to food again?
Sure.
No, just teasing. I think for me, one of the things that I really, really love about it is being able to see my family, because I have a sister who lives on the East Coast, and I left California. I don't live in California. That's where my family is. And so I get to see my family. That's one of the things I really, really love. And then all the people I've met along the way, because of Tower of Power. Like I can name a number of people in Minneapolis that I've become friends with, and we hook up and we go out to eat, breakfast or dinner or lunch or that kind of stuff. And it's so cool. It's so very cool. And so I love that. That's another thing I really like. It's just perks, I guess you could say. That's definitely one of the perks. And then the other thing, probably more than anything, is just the music, being able to play the Tower of Power book night after night. It's just pure joy.
I bet. So funky every single night. All right. So Roger.
Yes.
There are some unwritten rules of the road that should be written. Give me one.
Oh man.
I got the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
That requires a disclaimer from me, so I'll pass it to Tom.
No crapping on the bus.
No number 2 on the bus.
No number 2 on the bus.
Definitely not. That's a no.
No logs on the bus. It's what we used to say in the Kenny Loggins band. All right, so back to you. Since you answered that one, Tommy, Roger, who's the worst offender of tour bus etiquette without getting yourself in trouble?
I'll pass that to Jerry.
Well,
yeah, we're gonna leave that one alone, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone.
We're gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah, we don't want to call anybody out.
No.
Well, I would thought you would probably call one of each other out, except I guess we're not gonna...
There was a former band member who I'm not going to say his name.
Not going to mention,
who broke that rule that I talked about.
Okay.
And we broke up and said, okay, who is the midnight crapper? And And this person, we all knew who it was, and he denied it and denied it and denied it until finally he goes like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do. I just had to go."
Oh,
Anyway,
the Midnight Trapper was revealed.
I remember that.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing is, the bus driver will always pull over. You just go to the bus driver and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry to ask you to do this.
Next
This is an emergency. You got to find some place, gas station." That's never happened to me.
Me either.
I'm like routine. I'm like,
Hey, Tommy, do you remember the Bakersfield Incident?
Dum.
Well,
Not yet. It wasn't you. It was a particular. He was no longer with us as part of the crew. He was, I think he was a monitor guy. Remember him? And we were on stage playing. We got on the bus, and
he had done it.
lo and behold,
on the bus. I kind of remember that now. Boy, that was way back when I joined.
Yeah, it
the
was
band.
way back in the day.
God,
That
I've
was
been in the
rough,
band.
though. That was rough.
Glad I missed it.
Almost 19. Going to hit 19 years in February.
God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Hey, Jerry, let's go back before Tower of Power, and I was doing some research on you. You're the newest member in this threesome here.
I'm the baby.
You said that your biggest influence, besides the Beatles, was your family. Tell me about them.
Well, my dad plays tenor sax, who's a big fan of Tom Politzer's. He loves Tom's playing. he asks about him all the time. "Oh, Tom, man, that's my favorite sax player. I love Tom. It's like, shut up, Dad." No, I'm just kidding. All right. But no, my dad, I would definitely have to say is my biggest influence. And my mom was like the biggest supporter. My mom was not musically inclined, but when I was just a child, just, banging on the open E string with my ear on it because it sounded cool, like, whoa, yeah. That's how I got started, and my dad's whispering in my mom's ear, "That kid will never learn how to play that thing." So my parents, definitely the biggest influence is because my mom was saying, my dad's whispering in one ear of my mom, going, "That kid will never learn how to play it." And my mom, at the same age, is still doing the same lame thing, not knowing how to play at all. She'd say to me, I remember her saying it several times at the dinner table, "You're going to grow up and you're going to be knocking people's socks off." And that's the kind of support I got from my mom, So I was like, "Okay, wow." Yeah. So it just really stayed with me, So I just stayed with it. But definitely my parents,
Got it.
For sure, But I have lots of other musical influences. But that's really where it started and got me jump started for sure.
Well, I can relate to that because my family
I know
too.
you. For sure.
I get it.
Yeah.
Being the youngest. Jerry, when you're not on the road, you're doing a lot of sessions all the time, and your solo stuff is so soulful. I just love it. I got a chance to go through and listen to a bunch of stuff too. And didn't you just release a single this year?
Yeah. A couple. I don't remember. There's one that just came out of about a week ago, or less than a week ago. Thanks to a really good friend of Tom and mine, and Roger's as well. But Tom and another gentleman, a keyboard player, introduced me to this gentleman named Donnie Merrow, who produced all this stuff that I ever come out with. And Tom actually grew up with him. Tom's brother, TJ, was in a band with Donnie Merrow years and years ago called Kid Africa. In fact, I just saw some really cool concert poster. It was like Count 5, Chocolate Watch Band. These are all like Bay Area, South Bay Area bands, and there was Kid Africa. And I took a screenshot and sent it to Donnie. But anyway, he got a kick out of that. So, he's putting out the CD that's going to come out with a Christmas CD and that sort of thing as well.
Didn't you just put out a Christmas CD last year?
I did, yeah.
That's beautiful too. I mean, I started primping around here to get this ready, and I had the acoustic Christmas thing on. It's just you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one track that I wrote called "On Christmas Eve," and it's the rhythm section, piano, bass, and drums. Some guys in Nashville that Roger knows, and Tom.
Yeah,
bass player, drummer, keyboardist.
Tell me about the day you got the call to join Tower of Power.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still on you.
Oh yeah, cool. Let's see. It was actually an email I got from David Garibaldi. He says, "Greets from the road. We're in Switzerland," and he said, "Would you like to audition for Tower of Power?" And I remember thinking, those guys, man, those rascals, man. The last guy, they didn't even audition. Now they're asking me. And the last guy didn't even have any history with those guys. What's up with that? There's a long story behind all that. But I was like, I can't believe I have to audition. I know these guys. You know, I knew Tom, and I knew Roger from stuff with Roger, and I knew David. I'd played with David. You know, but the only people I didn't really know was, and I had never met before, was Rocco and me. But for the most part, Mick had sung my praises many years before. And he wasn't even in the band. He said, "Hey, there's this guitar player just played on my CD. You should get him in the band." Okay. And he called Emilio. And Emilio said, "Well,
can I keep us on this one?"
And then Tom was really instrumental too.
I was putting a bug in Emilio's ear. Yeah, sure. Years before he got to audition.
The whole band.
I was putting a bug in his ears because we had this one guitar player. Well, I don't know how he got in without auditioning, but he was not the right guy, and he was eventually let go. And I had been putting the word in, and I guess Emilio, when he let this guy go, immediately went and decided to hire this other guy without talking to any of us in the band. We all went like, "Time out." So he is the band leader, but when there is an uprising, he does listen.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there was an uprising saying, "No, let's not do this. Let's have an audition." And because I'd been bugging him about Jerry. That was Jerry got an audition, and the best part, I don't know if you remember this, Jerry. I don't know if Roger ever told you this, but right after he auditioned, when you guys played, Emilio called me up, like within an hour, and he goes like, "I just have to call you." I said, "Because I owe you an apology." I go, "Apology? What for?" He goes, "Jerry Cortez is everything I've been looking for in a guitar player. And he just killed the audition, and we're going to hook him up. And, I'm sorry." I said, "Well, I'm glad I have a little clout again."
Right?
Yeah,
that was good.
You'd listen the first time.
It's very true, man. Jerry came to the house. We did it here at the house.
Really?
He flew in, and he came in. So we always throw, a tune that doesn't have a guitar solo at the guitarist. So we threw "Can't You See" at him.
Okay.
And we're up there playing, and he is, my walls were singed. And so we looked at each other as we're playing, and we, okay, we're done.
Now, of course, there's a guitar solo in "Can't You See," which
now there is a yes.
Really?
In the show, yes.
For me, it's really it's like a major honor for me, because that's actually always been one of my favorite Tower Power songs. I've always loved that song. I love the horns in that song.
Great song.
Yeah, and I love the rhythm section and the vocal. I just really love that track, man. It's got everything that I love about Tower in that song. And so to have a guitar solo at, we went to our first rehearsal with the full band. He goes, "Hey guys, there's a guitar solo at the end of Can't You See Now? We're going to put a guitar solo there." And I was going, yeah.
It's so fun for me to hear you, Roger and Tommy, talk about that and reminisce about when Jerry came into band. That's so cool.
It was cool. And he was so quiet, so nice, so quiet spoken.
Yeah.
What happened?
His guitar spoke volumes.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
Tommy, I want to move to you. You're the youngest in your family, right?
Yes.
You and me, what a same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 3 older brothers.
Okay. And I read when I was doing research on you that it was your mom who was the one who was encouraging you to play. Is that right? Tell me a little bit about mom and dad.
Mom was first generation American, born in New Jersey, grew up bilingual. Her parents were from Germany. She always loved music and, started playing piano at a young age. And, she graduated high school at 16. She graduated Rutgers with a bachelor's in some language degree, but she minored in music. And then she started going to New York City and studying with a famous voice teacher because he wanted to be an opera singer. And then World War II hit, and she enlisted in the Army, came back, but she always wanted to do music. She ended up being an academic, but she's the one that encouraged us all to play music. And my dad, though not being musical, he was an immigrant from Europe. He was he's an Austrian Jew who escaped the Holocaust in 1936. Wow. And he loved opera, and my mom loved opera. And my mom loved music too. She just didn't, my older brothers started playing, R&B and rock and roll when they were in high school. They started a band. But I started playing clarinet and mainly playing classical music, playing in the concert band, having a clarinet teacher who was giving me, the classical clarinet studies, and then playing in the orchestra in junior high, which was really good, and then getting into a youth orchestra. So I didn't get exposed to playing jazz till they recruited the jazz band at 16. Wow. And I started playing Barry sax that year. Started on Barry sax, and I just loved it. I go I've been missing this all this time. You got this clarinet shit. I'm going to go do this thing.
Did you switch to Barry at one point? Did I read that correctly? Did we lose you, Tommy? Tommy froze on us.
Tommy froze.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy has been frozen in time.
Well, what a smile. Look at that.
Oh,
there he is. There he is.
Okay.
He's moving again.
Did I read that?
Can I chime in really quick? Can I chime in? I just wanted to say that Tom is a badass on clarinet. He can really. He is. I love Tom's clarinet playing. I've done a lot of sessions with Tom where he played clarinet, and I was like, oh, yes, you're breaking the clarinet out. His tone is just like a milkshake. It's just so thick and creamy.
It's very classical.
It's really, really nice. I love to hear Tom play clarinet.
I'm very lucky because I think any saxophone player that Paul, who picked up clarinet as a double, either in their late teens or 20s, they said, you got to pick up this double. They'll all tell you, man, I wish I'd started on this mother, because I'm so lucky to start on clarinet, because once you play clarinet well, the saxophone's relatively easy by comparison. Yeah. But the other way around, it's not.
Yeah.
You know who else started on clarinet? We're going to break away from the interview right now because I want to tell you about a couple of really cool things. First of all, thank you to everybody who's embraced Funk Friday. We are having so much fun bringing a little joy to the internet every single Friday with a 1-minute funk jam. So thank you so much for that. And if you like Funk Friday and you like Music on the Run and you want to become our partner and help us put those shows on, go to patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. Again, become our partner at patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. And there you'll get all the information on how you can financially help us produce this podcast and get some pretty cool merchandise and incentives in return. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the patrons who've already signed up. We could not do this show without you. As always, thank you so much for supporting us here at Music on the Run. Now back to our interview. You know who else started on clarinet? Ricky Peterson.
Get out of here.
I live in the house what I grew up in, and this is the basement where some of you guys may have been here. I don't know. But there's a closet right over there where we kept all our band instruments, and there's probably 3 clarinets in there as we speak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
Oh, yeah. They're all student models.
Tell Ricky when I come to Minneapolis, we're going to play clarinet duets.
He would absolutely love that.
I'll bring my clarinet.
Bring the clarinet and bring your sticks. Now, I want to talk about your golf game because I heard that you were having a little dilemma whether you were going to play music for a living or if you were going to try to do the golf thing. Was that a tough decision?
No, not when I realized that being a scratch golfer at 19 ain't, it's nothing compared to how good you have to be a pro. People go like, oh, you're scratch, you're zero handicap. It's like between that and being a pro is at least 6 more strokes. And also my main thing was like, golf didn't have any heart in it. And all my friends were musicians, and playing music in a band that I've always been a band kid, and creating music with guys, and just the friendships I developed. The guys I hung out with at the golf course, most of them were stuck up, rich white guys that a lot of them had country clubs. And I tried to be, but I had nothing in common with them.
Wow.
I didn't like hanging out. All I wanted to do is go on the golf course and beat them, but I didn't. The only guys I hung out with golf-wise were the guys on my high school golf team or my junior college golf team, which I played competitively. So that's when I decided, I'm lucky. My father, who's not a musician, was an academic, loved being a linguist. He was a language professor, spoke 8 languages fluently, and he loved it. He loved being a professor. And he always told me that, if you ever find something you love to do, he says, do it with all your heart. He says, you'll never be bored. You'll never be unhappy doing something you love to do. And he was right. I probably could have made more money selling real estate, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And now I get to play a lot of golf too. So,
right.
And I still play golf with the same lust and passion I did as a teenager. I just actually played in a tournament where I won my division, which is 60 and over.
I was going to say, you look good for 85.
It was 60 and over. Yeah, but I won my division. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
I shot 151 for 2 rounds.
Wow.
You can do the math.
I will do the math. Wow.
77, 74. Yeah.
That's amazing. I will carry your clubs, but you would clean my clock on the golf course.
Well,
but we can still play.
Well, I've had lessons maybe, and I've been practicing a lot. So
there you go. Talk to me about Spangalang.
Spangalang was where I learned how to play funk, and Spangalang. I got into Spangalang with Tony Lindsay, who I managed to you. Tony Lindsay, who's world-renowned singer, sang with Santana for all those years, but back before he was famous, he kind of had a band with the keyboard player who left the band when I joined, but it was just a 3-piece rhythm, no guitar. Sorry, Jerry.
Yeah,
no guitar. Actually, it was more of an economic thing. It's
really?
Like the keyboard player was when we got John Burr, the rhythm section was so solid as a trio, and Tony just sang, and we would play like cover tunes, but we would do things to them. We wouldn't play them the same way night to night. But that band, Paul, worked minimum 5 nights a week, and we did lots of private parties, and Tony and Steve, we had a great following, and they were great. That was in the boom of the Silicon Valley. And I remember my first, when I joined the band, it was in 89, my first Christmas season in 1989 with Spangalang. I made over $10,000 playing private parties.
Ooh-wee, that's good money in 2020.
Well, check it out. This is why they would deal directly with the HR people at all these Silicon Valley companies, and they'd have a Christmas party, and they just charge them $4,000, $3,000. They pay it, and we only had 5 guys in the band. And everybody goes
Beautiful.
Like, "How do you guys make so much money?" And Tony just goes like, "We asked for it."
There's a lesson right there, people who are listening. Charge what you're worth.
Yeah. And an agent once said to me when I started doing the business, and I was trained by Tony, and the agent said, well, you guys, I said, how much for this wedding? And I said, well, it's down at Carmel. It's going to be $3,500. And she goes, really? That's an awful lot. We don't, and you guys are just a 5-piece band. She goes, our 8-piece band, they only charge, $2,500. I go, you don't buy music by the pound. I said, if the 5-piece band kicks the 8-piece band's ass,
right.
If we get people partying more than they do, if we fill the dance floor better than they do,
yep,
yeah, which we did. So it was good. It was a good run. And then Tony got the Santana gig, and then it wasn't the same with the sub singer. It was a pain in the ass. It was hard. It wasn't the same. The whole thing, So I started doing other stuff. Me and Jerry did a bunch of music during that time.
I read that as well. So you said that you heard yourself in Jakarta or something, or
I'm the most heard and least listened to saxophone player.
Same with the guitar. We played on like 1,000 cuts. I mean, we really did because
I played on over 2,000 cuts.
I played on about 1,000. He played on even more, maybe
2,000 or 3,000 cuts.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that I've shopped or gotten my teeth filled or cavities filled to you two gentlemen.
Yeah, you probably went.
I could have been playing flute. I could have been playing flute or clarinet or alto, tenor or soprano or even Barry. Could have been any of those. But I did track after track after track after track, and
I could have been playing banjo. I did.
It was decent money,
I bet.
And you guys would live. You guys were really genuine. You were studio rats. Didn't you go in and you guys was just track and track and track and track?
Right. I would track.
14-hour days.
Yeah, I would track. There's one day I tracked for 16 hours straight to knock it all out. But it was stuff that I had transcribed and arranged. So, usually I got to where, 2 takes at max.
Right.
That was good, We're not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah.
But the worst thing was when they used to choose tones. I have to find that for you, but they would choose the tunes for us. Later on, this guy that was, unfortunately, fortunately for us musically, but unfortunately passed away untimely. But he was choosing the tunes. But I remember when we had to do a cover of Paul Simon's Kodachrome, and how do you instrumentally do Mama Don't Take My Kodachrome? Don't take my How do you do that on one instrument? It sounds like Morse code.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like you're playing Morse code.
Did you get any messages back?
Yeah, we're trying to decipher.
It's terrible.
Trying to decipher a Bob Dylan melody. Is there a melody here?
Do it on slide. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Tommy, tell me about when you got the call to join Tower of Power, and then Roger, you gotta kind of.
I was actually really interesting part. Was it was like 9/11 was in September before I got the call. I remember it was like really freaked us all out. I'm sure you too, all of us, and I don't know. I just remember like I started getting my practice ethic back in, and I really got it in. I made a New Year's resolution. I'm going to practice every day, and I did. I started with like 45 minutes a day, and after 2 weeks, I was up to like 2 hours a day, practicing every day. It was like, I hadn't done that in years. And then on the 19th, the phone rang, and it was Michelle Zarin, the then manager of Tower Power, and going like, "Is this Tom? So we got your name from several people who said, you'd be a good fit, maybe to audition for Tower. Are you interested in auditioning for Tower Power?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I am." So I auditioned about 2 or 3 weeks later. The rhythm section was up at a recording studio in San Francisco called Cyclops. And they were doing the rhythm tracks for the Oakland Zone album. And so I came up there to do my audition with Roger and Jeff Tamalier and Rocco and Dave. And Larry Braggs was there and Emilio. And they recorded it for the guys that weren't there, I believe. And I just came in, and mainly they just wanted me to solo. I think the first thing they wanted was, wasn't it Knock Yourself Out? Yeah, Knock Yourself Out. I don't know if Raj remembers this, but I already decided that I was going to let the rhythm section play for 8 bars, right? And so they were grooving for like 8 bars. And then I went like, I'm going to let them play another 8 bars. I hadn't played a note. I just let the rhythm section go. And Larry Bragg said, Amelia looked at him and goes like, is this guy ever going to play?
Sounds like Larry.
No, that's what Amelia said to Larry. Amelia said that. Amelia said to Larry. And then I started playing. Well, my whole thing was like, I wanted to like take my time and build a solo. And I wanted the rhythm section to just kind of play with each other. And I also wanted to feel them for 16 bars before I started playing. So I ended up playing, played on, I was used to playing 3 to 5 minute solos all the time with Spangley.
Yeah.
So they cut me off at almost like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. He cut me off. Then he had me play a couple other solos. And then I got a call back. Then he sent me charts and I got a call back. And I guess Roger was there. He remembers that audition. Roger actually thanked me for that audition because I was well prepared.
Yes, you were.
I was very well prepared.
Yet another life lesson, people listening.
Yes, well, a couple of the charts were not written out properly, and I had spent the time figuring out my part, transcribing it, writing it, and taping it together so that it read straight down with my little piece of manuscript paper taped over certain parts. Right? There's like 3 tunes like that, and I guess some people don't do that because Amelia goes, "I have to teach you the ending to this tune." I said, "Yeah, I know. It wasn't on the charts. I think this is it." And he looked at it and goes, "That looks right." We played. He goes, "Yeah, that's right." And then there was another one like that. And he goes, "You're a good man, Tom Paulus." And I'm thinking like, who in the hell would not do that work?
Right.
Who would, if you want the gig, you got to be crazy not to do that. I don't understand it. Like, doesn't everybody do this?
Right.
I mean, that's the way I was taught in school.
Me too. Yeah.
I had teachers that said, no, you learn the charts, you learn the stuff, you prepare, and this is a gig. It's like, I remember hanging up the phone when Michelle Zarin called me, and I said out loud alone in the room, I go, "This is my gig. I don't care who auditions. This is my gig. I'm getting this gig."
Putting it out there in the universe.
I put it out there. Yeah, I did.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember
God
when you
damn
got
it.
the gig.
And you've had it for 19 years now.
Yeah, it's been great. And in this day and age, I mean, how many gigs are there anymore anyway? We used to have, back in the 70s and 80s, it seemed like you could bounce around to
Every corner.
all kinds of gigs.
Gigs are hard to come by, and you guys are really, really, first of all, incredibly talented, but really fortunate. And I know you all know that.
Yeah.
To be able to play music at the level you guys get to play it and travel the world. Man, what a gift.
But you got to go to Roger now because he's got to tell you the story about when he made the Pips like trip over each other.
First, who? Roger.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah.
You ought to B3, man. Who turned you on to the B3?
Jimmy McGriff.
Unbelievable. How'd that happen?
My neighbor was one of my dearest friends. I was 6th grade. His name was Ron McGriff. His uncle, Jimmy McGriff. Here in Sacramento, there were so many clubs to play here. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this town was part of the Chitlin circuit.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could catch Albert King, Freddie King, B.B. King, James Brown. Can't call his name. But all the soul artists back in the day, the real true soul artists. Mm-hmm. There were about 5 different clubs that they would all come through. I saw Ike and Tina Turner when I was in high school. What? My cousin snuck me in to see Ike and Tina Turner at the Coconut Grove Ballroom, which is a trip back then. But yeah, Jimmy would come to town and they would practice at Ron's house on Ron's dad's church organ. Unbeknownst to me, that was a B3. I didn't know what a B3 was. And but it didn't sound like our church organ when he played it.
When he played it, right.
And so I would go over there and hang out every time he would come. He's about 3-4 times a year he'd come through. And so I'm hanging out with him, and and normal thing, they're drinking and they're doing things and so I'm hanging out with him. So he was playing this blues tune. It's called Down the Road a Piece. And he taught me how to play that. And he taught me how to play Little Red Rooster. And I couldn't quite get to the pedals on the organ, but he showed me how to make these chords to play that. And I'd go home and I'd try to play it on my mom's piano, and I'd get in trouble because she was a devout Christian. And she did not want me next door to those heathens while they drank and they did all that devil stuff.
Wow.
And so, you want to learn how to play, that's what you're going to do. So I got my little John Thompson's basic reader, and she took me to Mother Watkins, who was a pianist at our church, for piano lessons. Now, mind you, our church, it was, it was a mixed church, Seventh-day Adventist, very straight, kind of like being in a Methodist church. There was no shouting and grooving. It was all, "Come thou almighty saints, right by the book you'll play." And, that's what we did. Mm-hmm. And, and I'd come home and I'd start playing Little Red Rooster at the piano, and I'd get in trouble all the time. So anyway, that was the beginning of,
wow,
of it starting for me. It was Jimmy McGriff. And I would have given, I only saw him in my adulthood maybe once after that.
Really?
Because I was 11 years old when I met him.
Can I ask you a question? Didn't Jimmy Smith also live in Sacramento for a while?
Yeah, Jimmy Smith mentored me. Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah, he lived here twice, actually. He lived, the first time he was here, me and we'll get the band, when I was with Soul Train, we were playing over at this place called Malarkey's here in town. And Jimmy Smith would come in, and about the second set, I'd just get off the organ.
And
what do you do when Jimmy Smith walks in the door?
Do that.
You get your ass off the organ.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And he would play, until he got his fill. And I would just watch him right over his shoulder, just standing right there, and just to see what he was doing. And he was gracious enough to show me some settings, to show me how to do this, to show me how to do that. And that went on for about 2 years, actually. Then he left, and he came back before he passed. And I'd go to his house in Elk Grove to visit and try to get as much as I could out of him, because I'm not a trained keyboard. These guys will tell you I'm the worst reader in the world. And it takes me a long time to find my groove, because I have to
It does not.
Well, I have to feel it in here.
It doesn't take you that long.
And that's the thing.
Quick study.
That's how I kind of learned. But Jimmy Smith and McGriff were the two guys that really
Hey, you mentioned Soul Train. You better give me a Soul Train story.
Oh man. Let's see. I'm trying to think of one that'll pass muster without getting me in trouble. Let me think about that.
Who did you play with? Oh, you got one? Okay. Because I was going to get you out of it.
All right. We were, it was before, the Shalimar Band.
Of course.
And Whispers, way back in the day. We were like, our band, me, Aguna Son, Warner Bear Shugner, and who else was in that band? Oh, Mick Valentino was in that band. We were the B group to Greg Fillingane's, Reddy Freddie Washington, and Harvey Mason, and all the guys back then.
Right.
And so we would rehearse these new upcoming bands. And Shalimar, they were still dancers on Soul Train. Wow. So they would show up and they'd rehearse all the time. And we'd rehearse all those tunes that they did. Gotta make this a dime to remember. All those tunes, that's us. Second Time Around by the Whispers, And the Beat Goes On, that's us.
Wow.
We were the warm-up band. We couldn't go out on the road because we were the B group.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and Don Cornelius was our manager. Dick Griffey ran Solar Records.
Isn't that something, man? I had no idea you were on Soul Train.
Oh yeah, and also the theme. I think these guys already know it. There's one version of the theme where it had a heavy Moog bass that bo do 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 go. I don't know if you remember it or not.
Yeah,
I do.
But we were in the studio during one of our late night sessions, and they had a Moog synthesizer in there, and me and O'Brien and I did that, so I got writer's credits for that.
That's cool. Kidding.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That theme lasted for about a year and a half, 2 years maybe, something like that. Then they changed it.
That always helps, though, doesn't it?
It helped a lot back then. God, it was kind of nice going towards that the LA Local 42, was it? I think that's what LA is.
Now, weren't you? Hey, I'll interview her. Weren't you also with Gladys Knight?
Yeah, it was Gladys Knight as well. Yeah.
Did you know that, Paul?
No, I did not. That's unbelievable. I got to play with her one time when I was on the Donnie and Marie show. We were filming something in Vegas, and she came through, and I was, that's Gladys Knight. Yeah. So
well,
that's
you got to tell that story, Raj.
All
about
right.
The first time you played with Concord Pavilion.
Concord Pavilion.
Come on, let's have it.
You thought.
So I was part of the orchestra. Stan Lanetta, who was the conductor for the Sacramento Symphony, was hired to bring, because back then Gladys only had her, the Pips, her valets or whatever you call them, and the valet, and the rhythm section. About 8 or 10 people, something like that. And everywhere she went, she would hire an orchestra to back her up. So we were the orchestra to play at Concord Pavilion. So I took my clavinet, my Rhodes, and most of the tunes I knew. Right. A couple of them I had to read, but just the chord symbols just to kind of get through it. But the one going out, what was it? Heard It Through the Grapevine, one of the up tunes. And so they're dancing and they're doing their thing up front, and there's the last tune. It was a finale, whatever. Yeah. And so I jumped on clavinet and I started grooving on clavinet with it. And Bubba went left when he should have went right, and totally messed up their dance routine. So what happens? Gladys stops the whole thing. And we're back there way back down in the pit, cracking up, just laughing. Yeah. And so, Bubba, now how long have we been doing this? We grew up together. And the crowds is just laughing their butts off, packed house. And we're back. I'm just chilling. It's the end of the night. It was a great night, blah, blah, blah. I got to play with Gladys in the band. And Bubba turned around, and when she was grilling him, and he pointed right at me, and here comes a spotlight out of nowhere. I freaked out, man. It was his fault.
Oh,
and dude, I just kind of went. I almost, I didn't know what to do, so I just sat there. My career's done. I'm history, And so goes away. So let's try this again. So the drummer, he counted us off. He's just dying. He's in tears, laughing. So he counted the thing off, and so we started again. And so they went marching off while we're playing, and I'm like this. And Bubba goes right by me. He goes, as he walks past me. I'm toast. I'm packing up my stuff, getting in the car, and I'm about in tears, right?
Yeah.
I'm fucked up trash, So I go home the next morning. I get a call from the road manager. Hey man, can you meet us in San Diego? All right, who is this?
Right.
Who is this?
Practical joke, shot, right, bro?
Bought a ticket, went down there, and by the way, on that tour, this tour that we were on, it was Gladys Knight. She was the headliner. George Duke with an 18-year-old Sheila Escovedo, Al Jarreau, Frankie Beverly and Mays, and LTD. That was the tour package. And so met him down in San Diego, and we played at the stadium down there. And then he said, well, hang on, man. We're going to Denver. So I flew to Denver with him. And first time I ever got to fly first class. I get on the plane, and I'm getting ready. I'm all excited, getting ready to head back to my seat. And the stewardess goes, sir, no, you go this way. Okay. she flew us first class, man.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And you got to remember, this is like early 70s.
Right.
And it's like, I'd never, to this day, I have to admit, I've never been in a group with that much class. She was class personified.
No kidding.
She treated us like gold, you know.
You did that for a couple of years, right?
Yeah. Off and on, you know, doing other stuff because I was still with Soul Train and and Harvey Mandel as well.
Really?
That's right.
Man,
Yeah.
that's what a well-rounded like career you've had. You've been able to play with so many people. You have to tell me about your phone call to join Tower of Power, and I want to know what came first: your hit smooth jazz record, or your call to go in with Tower.
It was, I think, I got a call from the then lead sax player, Norbert Stachel.
Okay.
Gave me a call and said, hey, there's a possibility this gig might, you know, are you interested? I said, yeah, sure. You know, and didn't really follow up on it much. We just kind of yacked about other stuff. So Norbert said, I'll keep you posted. And so I had the Soul Train band playing in Tahoe. We had a house gig there. And it just so happened that Tower was playing at Harrah's right down the street.
Right.
And so Norbert said, well, you know, they'd like for you to audition. I said, well, hell, I'm playing when you guys are playing up there. Just have them come by and, you know, if they like what they're hearing, and in the story, you know. And so Emilio showed up, Dave showed up, and the guitar player at the time was Jeff Tamalier. He came, and I was kicking bass and doing all top 40 and a bunch of Tower stuff.
Right.
And that's what happened. That's how I wound up. Yeah, Jeff goes, you got to be in this band. You got to be in this band. Okay, whatever. I get a call from Michelle Zarin. So we're going to change the place. We're going to rehearse. We're gonna do the auditions in L.A. At first, it was the Bay Area.
Yep.
And I'm kind of thinking, old road dog. I'm kind of going, well, wait a minute. So I got to pay my way down there and probably spend the night for a maybe. I love the band, but now I'm going to pass. And I passed.
What?
And they hired another organ player.
What?
It was set, done. So I get back home and I'm going about my business, and I get a call from Garibaldi. He says, hey, man, me, Rocco, and Jeff would love you to come down to my house so maybe we can just jam a little bit. And I was humble. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Play with Dave and Rocco, of course. So I go down there, we jam one day, and Dave said, can you leave your stuff here and come back the next day? Hell yeah, man. So I came back the next day. We jammed. We played a bunch of tunes. Dave, I'm sitting in Dave's kitchen, and Dave gets on the phone, calls Emilio, and tells Emilio, hey, Emilio, we got our organ player. That's what happened. And the rest of the band had no idea.
No.
So I go home. Emilio calls me up, and I got my vocal parts over the phone from Emilio. I got Still a Young Man down, and each note, I wrote my note on top of each word, what I'm supposed to sing. Every song that he wanted me to sing background.
Wow.
So I worked it out, and I think I met the band in Philly somewhere. Now, I remind you, I've never rehearsed with the entire band. Hadn't played with them. Not the horns, or the lead singer. And I get there, and it was icy, man.
Was it?
That's perfect, though. I mean, because
it was icy.
Don't you guys think, you're auditioning somebody, I mean, the rhythm sections, I mean, as a horn player, I figure I got some say, but the rhythm section's a section. And the other three players auditioning, whether it's drums, bass, or guitar, or keyboards, those other three guys have got to have the first say how they're feeling if this guy gels with them.
Though, Tommy, because they had it locked.
Yeah.
They had a guy, and the rest of the band, they had moved on, and up pops Raj in Philly to do a gig that they didn't know anything of. They had the slightest idea. And here I am, and I'm going around going, hey, hi, and they're going, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, the horn section and the singer.
The horn section, they didn't know.
Yeah, the horn section, that's what my point. The horn section didn't know.
No, yeah,
They
church
don't-
didn't know.
We don't need to know. We
Yeah,
just,
and it was
we
Jesse
just want you to be
McGuire.
funky, and we'll play to it.
Right.
That's true. But
Need to know
then,
basis.
but then it was different, man. And it was a trip because after the first tune, the organ blew up. So I had to play on a fake keyboard on my piano.
Oh
Oh,
shit!
And they didn't even know it. Amelia says, "What's wrong with you? What, you play standing up?" No. The organ blew up. Doesn't work.
oh my! See, you fooled them good, man.
So I played organ on a keyboard
Unbelievable,
to get through the gig.
man. That's cool. And you've been there for 20.
Since first official gig was '99.
Man, that's unbelievable. Didn't you have a hit smooth jazz record right around the same time? Am I mistaken?
No, it went. Yeah, I was one of those guys. It still blows my mind. I can actually say I had a Billboard #1 hit, and it stayed there for a long time. Radio back then when the mags really meant something.
I was on one too.
Were you?
Yeah, 92, 93.
That's right.
Jim Chappelle, A Star Contigo, went to #1 for 12 weeks.
Beautiful, man.
I didn't write it. I just played on it.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's okay.
But everybody thought Jim Chappelle was a saxophone player, not a keyboard. That's true. They thought he was a saxophone.
Should have
But the
changed your
tune is,
name.
if you ever want to find the tune's called A Star Contigo, if you want to look it up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but I was fortunate with that. That was fun, and
Man, I bet that was fun to be able to say that you have those accolades in that a number
Roger's got a
one.
portfolio, man.
shoot.
Man,
And it's like, at this age, I forget it. I don't even think about it anymore.
wow.
It's just making it through the next tune, whatever that's going to be.
We're
right.
making the next Tempranillo.
Oh, by the way, Tommy,
Yes.
our 18 Pinot Noir took gold, 93 points, baby.
Woo, 93.
93.
What year?
It-
20.
you haven't tasted it yet. It's exceptional.
Wow.
Yeah.
Better tell us about Bump City, please.
Yes.
Tell us about it a little bit.
All right, a little bit about it. We have 1,100 acres in Sonoma. All, you name the varietal with the exception of a Montrachet, something like that we don't have. But every other varietal we have there. 300 acres up in Lake County, which is by Clear Lake, California, north. That's where all of our grapes come from. The only grapes we don't source from our dirt is in Lodi. We get the old vines in from there.
Got it.
Everything else is there. Bump City started it about 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago.
What
Just as a
possesses
fluke.
you to do something like that? Have you been a connoisseur and just wanted to get into that, or is that just how does
I've
someone
always
get?
loved wine. Always dug it. Had the opportunity to do it. A good friend of all of ours, Randy Haight, he's one of the wine purveyors of Costco. And we had just made some of our Zinfandel up in Amador County. And so he came up and visited. So we went and tasted it. And he told me, you need your own label. I got somebody I want you to meet. So he took me to Sonoma, introduced me to Tom Larson that owns all that property there. And Tom basically gave me the keys of the kingdom.
What?
And so I got a partner, my good friend Mike. We've been friends for close to 40 years.
Right.
And Mike had retired, sold all of his businesses, and he had run businesses. He was CEO of all of his businesses. I needed somebody to run it because I'm gone 150 days a year.
Right. Right.
And so I called him up. I said, Mike, you want to go in the wine business? He goes, sure. Here you go, pal. So he put the nuts and bolts together in terms of all the internal workings. My end of the partnership was just to, follow through with the Tower Power connection and everybody else, draw people toward it and make the best wine we could. And that's what we've been doing.
Man, that's fantastic. And we can order some of that for the holidays, can't we?
Absolutely.
All right. Oh,
Very
perfect.
easy. www.bumpcitywinecode.com.
There we go. Well, it was important for me to get everybody's story on that. And I won't keep you much longer because I want to respect your time. But I know you all have your own families, but you also have the Tower of Power family. How did the recent death of Rocco affect you guys?
Yeah, I've known Rocco for many years, and even before I was in the band. I met him when I was at Gladys Knight. And a lot of life there. We kind of, a lot of experiences back then. Also on the road in the early years, hanging out with Rocco. The stories are too numerous to even talk about. But, you know, like what gives me comfort is knowing that he's no longer suffering and in pain. You know, it's something that I think all of us, to a man, we don't have to. I wonder how Rocco is. I wonder, is he doing this or is he doing that?
Right.
Is he taking care of himself? Whatever. Rocco lived life the way Rocco wanted.
Yes, he did.
You know, and you know, I'm just glad for everybody concerned. His family, Mick McEntee, who was his caregiver, his angel. That pressure is no longer on him, and that Mick can relax. Mick can let his shoulders down, not having to, how do I put this, carry that burden?
Yeah.
You know,
that is hard, so hard on caregivers. I mean, you see that day in and day out. It's hard on the person, of course, who is in pain all the time, but it's almost equally as hard on the person who's taking care of that person.
Taking care of him, yeah.
Man, it is a tough road, and he's.
I'm just glad he's out of pain, though, Paul. I'm glad he's out of pain, and you know, he's resting. You know, his legacy can't. I don't think it'll ever be touched. What Rocco left us, his musical legacy. They're just one guy. I mean, I'm amazed. You know, like at all these bass players. I don't know if you guys saw that streaming thing that they did.
I was on it.
It kind of blew me away.
That's just amazing. Hey, Tom, do you remember when we did the bass thing down in L.A.?
Sure. They were honoring him and Charlie Hayden.
Charlie Hayden, yeah. That was absolutely mind-blowing. Oh, by the way, we got on stage, and I'm up there playing. It was me at the time. The other guitar player is Mark and Dave. And so it's B3, drums, and a guitar, and 9,000 bass players with all these amps behind us. And so, you know, smart ass me, I like, hey guys, you want me to kick bass on Squib Cake?
That was good.
It was all honoring Rocco.
Oh man, that's great.
And Charlie Hayden.
And Charlie Hayden,
Yeah, that was incredible.
It was,
just the bass worship that guy got, man. You know,
he
for
will
me,
he'll get it forever.
Yeah.
When I joined the band, Rocco was gone a lot because his liver was failing.
Right.
Yes. And you know, we had Mark Van Wagenhagen subbing for Rocco a lot on that first year and a half. And then he got his transplant, and you know, for those first 4 to 6 months when the transplant kicked in, Rocco was feeling really good again.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I remember, getting to know him and see his personality. You know, I think, you know, for him being in the band that long, you know, I was just, you're another sax player now. You know, I kind of always felt like that with Rocco. But he was always super nice to me, you know, because of the way he would take care of himself. You know, he would get grumpy a lot because he'd be tired or not doing well, you know, and something. But, you know, when he wasn't grumpy, he was a really nice guy. You know? And even when he was grumpy,
it really was.
even when he was grumpy, you know, I mean, he was still, you know, he had a lot of heart, you know, and I did have some very good conversations and hangs with him, with him over like the quality, maybe 14 years I had with him.
Yeah.
Because in the last few years, you know, he was, you know, he almost died on us like 4 times. We had to leave him behind in a hospital like 4 times. I remember the last European tour, he made it through 3 or 4 gigs. Hengelo. Hengelo. We had to leave him in a hospital in Holland.
Wow.
And we had to fly Dwayne Pate out, and who was learning stuff on the plane coming out. He did a great job. Dwayne Pate, another great bass player from the Bay Area. And but and then towards the end too, I only talked to him a couple times, but I just could tell that he just was probably in constant pain.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I did a lot of FaceTiming with him because he went back to hang with Mike Peros a lot. That was his kidney donor.
Wow.
And so like Mike, Rocco would FaceTime me, him and Mike. And, I was a guy that always jabbed him in his side to give him some shit about not doing this or not doing this. And why are you doing this? And why aren't you doing that?
Yeah.
And he would get so pissed at me. Man. He'd basically tell me, explicative deleted yourself,
Yeah.
He'd just go off. But he was my heart, man. I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty lovable.
Yeah.
Despite all that, he's pretty lovable.
He had this really tough, crusty exterior. He really is like, almost like a pirate, little munchkin pirate. But deep inside, he really was a sweet, sweet guy. He really you could sit down with him, really nice conversation. He was really. Dave actually says it really funny. He goes, it's funny because you hear Rocco, he's always like, but Jerry, he goes, you wouldn't believe it, man. He calls me and he goes, hi, Dave. How you doing, Dave? He goes, completely demeanor on the phone. So that's Rocco.
Yeah.
So
one story about Rocco, this is just one of the funny little tales. You remember in Europe, in London especially, Les Miserables was a huge thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rocco on the bus sees all the cabs, all the trolleys, all Les Miserables, everywhere you looked. And Rocco was sitting there and looking at this. Hey. Yeah, Rocco? Who's this Les Miserables cat? He sure gets a lot of gigs, don't he?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did, buddy.
And I was there.
Les Miserables.
My favorite one, I remember that one. And the other one I was there to witness was we were in Switzerland. And he just goes, always got to have the cigarette.
Yeah.
Man, they sure have a lot of hospitals in this country. Think about it.
Yeah.
The Swiss flag is hanging in place. Right? The Swiss flag's hanging in all the hotels. It's on tops of buildings.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
He thought it was the Red Cross.
Well, God rest his soul, man. And you got Mark in the band now. Yep, full time.
Yeah, so we got some Dutch stories, but they'll come later.
Okay, that'll come on the reboot when you guys come back on and do this again with
Dutchman.
me sometime.
Would love to.
Hey, so obviously we're not touring this year. You guys got plans yet for next year? We don't know what's going on. Have you guys planning anything? Or
I can tell you right now that from especially from June on, we're booked solid. Tentatively, yeah, we're booked for Europe in the fall. Pretty heavy bookings, and I talked to our manager Ivory, and he said, "Yeah, the money's better than it's been, and so all we can do is hope that we get to do them."
Yeah.
Just hoping we get to do them.
I bet you your significant others would like you to get the hell out of the house now. Probably. They're probably on. Isn't it time for you to?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, one of those gigs will be at Bump City, July 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming.
Yeah, cool.
I'm coming. Fellas,
that's outside.
That's outside,
exactly.
yeah.
But we should be able to do that regardless.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping, man. It's like this time it won't be in the heat of the day. It'll be at 7:30.
Sidebar: I just saw a video of a concert they just had in Utah, Jerry. Inside, everybody next to each other. They wore a mask, but people were just next to each other. Did you hear about this? Like, what the F, man? I mean, it's just that's ridiculous. It's just like can't be doing that now.
No, you can't.
It's pretty crazy everywhere.
Hey, you guys.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Becoming your friends has been one of the biggest deals to me in my life. I mean, just to be able to hang out with cats like you and to be able to make
hang out with the
cats like you.
Petersons.
It's been so much fun for me.
You guys-
be able to.
I've been hearing about.
Stop it, Paul.
I've been hearing
Just
about you
stop it.
guys. I've been hearing about you guys.
Yeah, forever,
since
man.
the 90s.
God.
I've been hearing about the Petersons from the 90s and whatever the fuck's in that water you've been drinking up there.
Icicles are in the water.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
ice fishing stuff, man, you guys do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Man.
Oh, you real funky.
Shit, man.
Oh yeah. Well, we love you. I love you, and it's been such a pleasure to. And I don't even know how the hell we met. It was probably because of Rocco or Ricky.
I met you at a
knows?
tower gig. I met you at a tower gig.
Yeah, and I think I came in and Jerry, you let me play your guitar on a tower gig once.
That's right. I think
I'll
that was
never
the night I
forget
met you.
that, man. Thank you. What a kind gesture, man. To go.
Here you go.
That was so
Ricky's
cool.
played. Didn't Rocco never let you play bass?
He was wanting me to play bass that night, and I was like, I don't want to play your bass. That's one of the things for me that I didn't want to do, because those are, for me, being a Rocco fan, those are tough shoes to fill.
And they're tough strings to play too. If you ever,
No, I'm just gonna
His
tell you,
bass was so up to play. He used to let me play it all the time. I'm like, how do you do this?
yeah.
What do you use? You use huge, really heavy gauge strings? Is that
No,
it?
they were like
the strings
10 miles
are
high, man.
Yes, they were
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that. He didn't care. He just played.
That's why, at night we'd be playing, and Jerry can attest to this. He'd be playing, and he'd go like this. He'd look at me, and go, "Hey, cover me."
Yeah.
I mean, I had to cover his bass parts. I can't
really?
count the times. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I got cramp. Cover me.
well, he should have gotten cramps with the action that high.
God, man.
Well, look, I look forward to doing another Funk Friday with you. Oh, and hopefully doing one of those gigs in person with you, because that was so much fun, and you guys are the
We
best.
will.
Yeah, man. Thank you
It's
so
can't
much
last
for being
too
a
much.
part of Music on the Run, and I appreciate your time, and what great stories. You guys got a lot of them. Thanks a lot for being here.
And it's
Love
right
you,
on
Paul.
the surface too.
Love you,
That's
Paul.
going
I
to
miss
do it
you.
for us on episode 27. I can't even believe it. Episode 27 of Music on the Run. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks a lot. Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Edited and produced by my buddy Davide Raso. Video editing by Ivan Sebastianov. And a very special thanks to the people who financially support this podcast. And remember, don't change horses in the middle of a stream.